So good morning, everyone. Fáilte Rómh go léir. Welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth and Maynooth University. This is quite a good body of people I see before me, and so it denotes a very healthy level of interest in what is a fascinating topic. I suppose many of you, like myself, have been listening to the snippets on the news since, more or less, since the opening of the new year, and apparently the markets have been convulsed. And one of the first thoughts I always have in my head is, when you hear news like that, is, well, not to worry, because if you don't have any money in the markets, there's nothing to worry about anyways. And the second thought I usually have is, well, even if I did have money in the markets, what could you do about it? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing much I can do about how some official in China reports their accounts, or indeed the involuntarily twitching of an eyelid as some central banker tries to reassure the markets, and because his eyelid keeps twitching, they decide to drop 2 or 3% because they don't have confidence. And all of these little anecdotal stories that we hear as to why the markets are convulsed. It's one of those things we sometimes hold our hands up and say, good Lord, what are we going to do about all of this? But in fact, I think when we think for a third time around it, the truth is, most of us do have a fairly strong stakehold in this rather rarefied world of international markets, because whether we have a pension or whether we have monies invested by our sovereign governments in our name, we do have that stakehold, each of us. And when you reflect on it that way, we realize that, all right, maybe we can't personally influence the macro movements of the markets across the world, but perhaps we very clearly and really can influence how decisions are made and what investments are done in our name. I think today we'll have an opportunity to reflect on that very real collective power and collective contribution that each of us has, and perhaps we discount it, we take it for granted, we don't quite bring it before our consciousness in the way that we should. Today is an opportunity for us, I think, to reflect on that and to perhaps become a little bit more aware, to conscientize, as the word has it. That brings me to St. Patrick's College involvement in this. We're very much of the belief that theology is not simply something you study, something you read. Well, we passionately believe that it's something you do. And so we see this as a very real partnership, and happily one that has been developing very, very, very nicely over the last couple of years. As Eamon mentioned, our tripartite approach has yielded possibilities that separately perhaps we couldn't have undertaken. So it is a great pleasure for me as president of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, to be a co-sponsor along with trocaire and our partners in Maynooth University for this event. I want to thank in particular Professor Philip Nolan, who can't be with us today, but who's very ably represented by Dr. Larraghy for their strong participation in this event. And of course, especially our partners in trocaire, Eamon and Dr. Lorna Gold have been really extraordinary in helping to make those links that I talked of between what we study, as it were, in the academy and how that has an outworking in the real world. And so I want to just to pay tribute to them for their energy and for their commitment and for the cooperation. Also, can I say a word of thanks to Dr. Pádraig Corkery, who represents St. Patrick's in this field in terms of those connections and partnerships. This is a day then for celebrating partnership, but also for reflecting on collective power that each of us has, and how by using that wisely, perhaps we can make some significant changes to the world in which we live, so that world truly has a better future. I wish you every success and enjoyment indeed in this little seminar. Best wishes. Thank you.